So this is going to be politically not correct. Alrighty, so I'm just letting y'all know in advance. So we're calling this corporate Biblehood, churchianity corporate Biblehood, related to corporations or people too. And so that's why I wanted to use this word, because corporations or people too came back up again. And so I thought, well, why not have a little bit of fun with this? And so we will. So we're going to draw Holy Bible B L E. Okay, Holy Bible. Corporate Biblehood. Okay, so let's draw this up here before we go any further. Corporate C. Uh-oh. That looks like an E. C. Okay. O. R. P. O. R. A. T. Oh, I'm running out of room. E. Okay, so it's not going to be exactly like I have on my corporate. This will work, I believe, Biblehood. So we'll just nest it under here. B. I. B. L. E. H. O. O. D. So technically, I mean, we can make that same argument. If corporations are people too, then church and Bibles are people too, right? I mean, I think we can make that same analogy and argument. Okay, so Mr. Bible Man is sitting right here. And I've noticed a lot of people, when they do this Bible stuff, they just want to talk at people. They would just want us to listen to them when we really don't want to listen to them. They just want to talk at us, and that's what religion tends to do, is just talk at us instead of giving us a two-way conversation. So I am making my little guy right here. I might need to mute. Yeah, we need to mute right here. And let me see if we get any discussion. I don't know if we will or not. We may or may not get discussion. I just thought this would be a fun topic related to discussion related to corporations or people too. And, the direction that politics does not want us talking about the relationship that they literally have with government, which they do. They don't want to admit that, but they do. Okay, so let's take this down here. Okay, and so we've got kind of the spine of the book right here. Okay, so I'm putting a little face here. So the point of this is, if corporations are people too, then God is a people too. Churches and the Bible is a people too, right? It's got to be, because that's how they fund all this stuff. And they don't want any of us talking about it. Okay, so let's do the little tongue. We got a little tongue in there like that. Okay, so, let's get this. Let's try to get an arm in here. We'll get an arm in here. Okay, so I need to kind of draw some lines in here a little bit like this to make it look like pages. Okay, we're gonna, and so so we've got a cross. Let's see, yeah, we've got a cross right here. Okay, so from the cross we have got, okay, we've got our little guy standing on top of the roof of a church here. Okay, and okay, so we've got kind of a point right here and down this direction. Okay, so we've got this little part down here like that. And okay, so right here, let's take this down a little bit further. We're going to take this little part down right here. Try to make it look like a church. That's what I'm trying to do. The corporate churchhood and churchianity in here. We're going to take this part down here and down here. And okay, so we've got sort of a roof that kind of goes off in this direction, the roof of the church. We're taking it off over here. And then we've got this little part. Oh, well, okay, I need to draw these parts down like this. Let's put you down like that. And we are going to take you down like this with this angle right here. And we've got a little bit more over here like this, and we're going to take you down here like that, and we're going to put this over here. Okay, we need to put some windows in our church up here in our corporate churchianity. Corporations are people too. This means churches are corporations too, and they should be paying taxes, but we don't want, I mean, Goldman Sachs talks about this all the time. Goldman Sachs does, I know. Jim Cramer calls it Goldman Slacks. He changed the name for a reason. I believe Jim Cramer, he would call Schlumberger instead of Slumberger. He'd call it Schlumberger. Some of the stocks, and I think he was purposely changing the name so not to artificially inflate the stocks within the artificial intelligence, but of course that was his job. So I mean, what are you going to do? Destroy your own job? No, you're going to do what you can, even though you know that the economy is being screwed up. I think Jim Cramer, I'm pretty sure that he understands artificial intelligence and what was going on. And I don't think he was trying to be, in hindsight, I really don't. He called it his charitable trust. And so, when I think of charitable trust, I think of in the sense of that I think it was a dummy account. And that's why I always kind of wanted to say that I didn't really think that the stocks that he was trading in his portfolio were literally that of, he was just using it as an advertisement, in a sense. That's kind of what I was always thinking. He was using it as an advertisement. But somebody would get really angry when I said that. I said, well, what if it's just one of the trial and error? I call them dummy accounts. They're the test accounts that you set up. You're not really trading any stocks. That's why I call it a dummy account. Because you're not really trading any stocks in it. You're just looking at ones that, that you might want to invest in at some point. But you're literally not, That's why he called it his charitable trust, but then he made the word charity so very, very popular at the same time too. And so he was featuring stocks and favoring stocks in that sense, as far as that goes. That's just kind of how I saw it. Did anyone have any questions in here? If you have any questions or anything you want to chit chat about. So I'm just drawing this little figure here in a relationship to corporate churchianity, corporate Biblehood, because if corporations are people too, then churches are people too, and God is a people too, right? I know everybody has their opinion about what God is, and so God has corporate personhood right now. According to corporations or people too, God has corporate personhood. Um, so but some attorney who's smarter than me, I'm not an attorney, and so I don't want anybody to get that idea. So somebody who's an attorney, who's a smarter attorney than, they're going to have to argue this, that church is a people too, because corporations are people too. And so when Grover Norquist can argue that corporations are people too, and they have corporate personhood, then church has corporate personhood too, right? I think they do. I'm pretty sure they do. God has corporate personhood under these conditions. And so, yeah, we're giving a shout out to God today related to the corporate personhood that God has. They want to keep this stuff falling on deaf ears. We're giving God a voice today related to corporate personhood. And so God has corporate personhood today. Shout out God, corporate personhood, you have rights here. Even though people, they want to exclude God in many ways and say, well, no, God doesn't participate in this. But no, God is a real person, is a real being. Everybody talks about it every Sunday, how God has done all these things to help people all the time. And so God has corporate personhood. Under these conditions of corporations or people too, absolutely God has corporate personhood. And so that's why we're giving God a big old shout out today with corporate personhood. And this is a dedication to drawing to God and corporate personhood, that God is a real person and God is still here on earth with us. And God has corporate personhood, just like Goldman Sachs has corporate personhood and Google has corporate personhood. I've even said, this is what I said this morning on the other guy's live stream, I said the Democrats and Republicans also have corporate personhood because they're functioning as a monopoly and they make a lot of money and they have corporate personhood. Just the Democrats and Republicans, because they're making lots of money and they're just working for the Democrats and Republicans, not the American people. So I mean, it's just my opinion to interpret it that way. I have no other way to interpret it, but just kind of laugh at a very sad situation that's being harmful to people. So when they talk about their charitable foundations and things like that, I have brought up about George Soros, and I have discovered that George Soros I believe he's bought and sold into some of TikTok in China possibly, but they have a right to do that. So technically, a foreign agent and company, like I suppose Tesla has corporate personhood too, because the Tesla cars, Elon Musk is going to have corporate personhood, and I'm not sure how well that's going to fly over with a lot of people who don't like Elon Musk and the direction that they're taking cars from whatever it is that they're doing. Now, I did see a thing on TikTok this morning, and I think it was data gathering, and it said that you could test drive an electric car of some sort or another. And, but to me, it just looked like more data gathering. That's all that was. So I know the thing is, when I need help and I need money for my own self, it's not there for me. It's kind of sad. It's not there for me. And, so I don't know how I'm supposed to get help for myself. So, but I'm just making a drawing here of what corporate personhood related to Bible and churchianity looks like to me. Well, that looks pretty good, actually. That looks pretty decent. Um, well, it kind of looks like solar panels on there. You know, it's a matter of time before someone has the solar panel church. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh my goodness, this just reminded me of the Hurricane Bible Church. I forgot about the Hurricane Bible Church. Was that in North Carolina? Was that North Carolina that had the Hurricane Bible Church? Let me see. Let me see. Let me see, because one of them had one of the funniest names. Let's see if it still exists. The Hurricane Bible Church. Bible. It still exists. The Hurricane Bible Church. It still exists. That's what it's named. Non-denominational church in Hurricane, Virginia, West Virginia. I had no idea. There is a town called Hurricane, West Virginia. Let me look at maps. This is fascinating that they named a town Hurricane, West Virginia. Let me go to maps here now and take a look. That is interesting here. Okay, so I got to get into maps here. And Hurricane, West Virginia. Hurrican, Hurricane, West Virginia. Where is it at? There really is a town called Hurricane, West Virginia. There's a Hurricane Westview, Wheeler Ridge, the city of Hurricane, Bridge Park, Lower. Hurricane is a city in Putnam County, West Virginia, United States. The population was 6,977 at the 2020 census, located roughly equidistant from Charleston and Huntington. It is part of Huntington, Ashland metropolitan area. That's West Virginia, though. That's fascinating. Hurricane, West Virginia. And that really is a town up there named Hurricane, West Virginia. How funny is that? Let's go to Wikipedia and take a look here at Hurricane. So that's where the Hurricane Bible Church is. I was under Main Street in Hurricane in 2007. Hurricane was named after Hurricane Creek, which was in turn named after a group of trees at the arm of the river bent in one direction. A party of surveyors commissioned by George Washington noted the site appeared to have been struck by a hurricane, giving rise to the name. Locals pronounce the town Hurricane, not hurricane. Oh, Hurricane. Interesting. Less than 17 miles, 27 kilometers southeast of Hurricane, a post office named Tornado. Oh my gosh, no. Oh, but it's on the maps, and these are really towns in our United States. The town named Hurricane Bridge was located where West Virginia Route 34 now crosses the creek. Near current-day Hurricane, the town can be traced back to 1811 Virginia map. Now, the fun thing about Hurricane is, we've got a cane called the Hurricane for old people. And we also have, I believe, a vacuum cleaner called the Hurricane. And we have like tornado technology vacuum cleaners. Hurricane itself can be traced back to the 1873 when a railroad track was laid through the town and a small depot was constructed. It was during this period that Main Street developed along with other business in the area. Hurricane was a trading and residential town for tobacco growers and other farmers in the early 1900s. The fire department was established March 2nd, 1936. It was incorporated as a town in 1888. Oh, interesting, 1888, which, if you guys remember, for a while, the 888-800 numbers were very popular. We went to the 888. And as a city in the 1970s, the three oldest continuous operating business are the Hurricane Breeze, a weekly newspaper established October 1900. Putnam County Bank, established October 25th, 1901. Now, Putnam, that reminds me of Grant Putnam on General Hospital. I don't know why, but it just does. It just has me remembering Grant Putnam. He was like one of those heartthrobs for the ladies on General Hospital. I don't know what happened to him, but usage of the word grant is very popular. So I will grant you, I will lend you. Now, I never thought about Wall Street at the time I was watching the daily soap operas, that they were funded by Wall Street or funded by some grant money so the soap operas could be on TV. I would have never would have dawned on me in a million years that the United States was lending money to the acting entertainment so they could have a job of some sort, related to entertainment. Never would have dawned on me. That just wasn't in my purview of my scope of knowledge at that time. I was just one who was consuming it. And it's like now with the birth of YouTube, we want to create it. We want in on the money too. And so now we find out that celebrities are all full of crap too. They're all full of crap. And they're not as wealthy and rich as what they profess to be. And that they're literally owned by someone else. Probably, I think they're owned by the American people because they got the money. The money is from the American people, and that these brands and trademarks can be bought up by someone else. And I have a feeling when all is said and done, a lot of the music companies, the American people are going to end up owning the music because of the fact that when they go out of business and these big companies like Sony can't afford, they're not making a profit, then they're going to have to sell their catalog of music probably to the American public, and it's going to end up getting divested into Wall Street somehow, possibly. Oh my gosh, I have a comment. I'm so excited. I have a comment here. Jennifer Wiesman. Hello, Jennifer Wiesman, 1938. Jennifer Oh, you know what? I'm not even going to tell you what that reminds me of. And I might here eventually tell you what it reminds me of. 1938. And I am going to tell you, so why did you have to bring my high school boyfriend into this right now? So my high school boyfriend, and so somebody is doing this right now still with things that I've said on the internet. And so that's all I'm going to say. Now I did tell my real attorney some things, a lot of things I did. And now I don't know if he can be on the internet or not, though, my real divorce attorney, or how he plays into this. So I've learned that they're using administrative things. Someone told me this the other day. Homeland Security is using administrative documents that are really not, they're just printed out, and they just do things their own self because they don't have a higher judge or authority above them. So they're just doing things at the border. This is what they've told me, that they can just do things at the border. And it's like, okay, well, I guess you guys can do things at the border. You gave me a funny idea to do something about the Alamo and put a doorbell on the Alamo, which I did. I made a kind of a meme joke thing with artificial intelligence for the Texas border crossing, and I made a roller coaster the other day. Because I'm not making any money though, my own self. I'm not making any money from any of this, but I made something that I thought was kind of funny based off of things they were doing, which is they're making ridiculous content apparently in real life where I'm just making drawings and things, but they're getting paid. Some of those Border Patrol people, they're getting paid 80,000 to like $160,000 a year. And so they're making really, really, really good money. And I'm shocked at why a lot of them are poor living with their dad when they're making that much money, because they're making really, really good money at the border. And so, but they're saying things that they can kind of do the things that they want to do because they have no supervisors. That's what they're telling me right now, is they have no supervisors. So Border Patrol itself does not have any supervisors. And the thing that's finally come out, the truth of the matter of this, is that the people who have been naturalized, who came from foreign countries, they're mad now because of the fact they don't want illegals either, because of the fact that it hurts their jobs. So now the people who came to the United States to literally escape poverty are being placed into poverty now, the same way the American citizens are, because they're bringing in people who make less money than them. So it's just the same vicious cycle that's happening over and over again, is they're bringing in more migrants, and so the migrants who actually got asylum in the United States are now being hurt because they're losing their jobs and they're not getting paid as much, and so now they're here in the United States and they're not able to make the money that they were getting, and so they're in the same boat as Americans. Well, they're an American citizen now, so they're in the same boat. So the migrants are taking jobs from the people who migrated here 25 years ago or however they got in, taking jobs from them. So do you see the vicious cycle of what's taking place? It's not a healthy environment at all. And so, I mean, I was on a TikTok panel this morning and I just came so close to saying, I told you so. And then I looked at the age group and what sounded like of the panel. I thought, I can't do that because a lot of them might not have even been born. So if they're only like 15 years old, YouTube has been around for over 20 years now. And so it's like, I can't be telling someone something about, I told you so, when they were just a kid. And see, the majority of people have been on the internet now, have internet access. And so it doesn't do any good to say I told you so about something when people don't know what we're talking about, or they've been born into it. And that's what systemic oppression is in the United States. When you're born into this, nobody will listen, and then the corporations are basically stealing money from the future of the American public, is what's taking place right now. And so eventually they're going to have to listen. I mean, I can agree and disagree, get kicked off of panels till I'm no longer on the planet Earth. What good does it do if nobody's going to listen, if nobody's going to call? Now, one thing I did share with the people on the panels, I said, you know what? How about you guys call up the corporations, call up the shareholders and the presidents and CEOs of the companies. Oh my gosh, that set someone on fire. They got their panties in a big old bunch. They didn't like that idea when I told them. I think I eventually got kicked off the panel. I told them to call up the corporation. I told them to call up Wall Street and tell them what's going on. They did not like that. The person who was on the panel was literally angry. They were very angry when I told people who were foreign migrants to call up the shareholders, the CEOs of the companies, and tell them what's going on. They were literally angry at me for doing that. And I think I ended up getting kicked off the panel. Then they started telling me that I'm crazy. I don't know what I'm talking about. And it's like, yes, I do. I said, if you're a foreign national and you feel like you are being human trafficked by someone, and that the corporation that you're working for is contributing to it, you absolutely have a right to call up that company, that shareholder, the stock company, and tell them what is going on. And I was thinking about the Sounds of Freedom that came back up again recently, related to human trafficking, and I thought they have every right to call up, and tell them what's going on, tell the stock company, the mutual fund owner, what's going on. They have every right to do that. Someone got really mad at me for saying that. So that's just where I'm at right now with this. And so, well, that looks pretty good like that. The corporate Biblehood, Holy Bible, churchianity. Maybe I should write that down here in small letters. Churchy. I wonder if I have enough room. Churchianity. Churchianity. Well, I kind of ran out of room, but hopefully we can see that there. Churchianity. Churchianity. I could write it over here too. Let me write it over here. I think I've got a little bit more room. Whoopsie. Churchianity. So there we go with our corporate Biblehood and churchianity right here, and corporate Biblehood, churchianity. It's just, you guys know what I'm talking about. And so let's color these windows in a little bit more like that. We'll just kind of color them in here. But yeah, I didn't know there was a city named Hurricane, West Virginia. That's kind of interesting there. Churchianity. How about we add some, let's just add the eyes right here. We'll just add some eyes. Right here. We'll add more eyes. I think this would be fun. We'll just add some eyes here on the church. And we'll add some eyebrows up here like this, like that. Churchian, and this is the churchianity kind of makes the mouth right there. And so there, I think we're good, and we're gonna have fun with this, with our AI a little bit, our corporate Biblehood. Hopefully it will go in there. I'm hoping it goes in there, because we should be able to get it in there. That's my thought and hope. And so, and then this book this is the bestseller of books in the United States ever. This whole book just is the best. It's always on the bestsellers list, is my understanding. And so, let's add a little bit more in here, make it there. There, we've got it. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys the next time.